Welcome back, everyone. Today we will be reading Book 16, so let's get into it. Book 16, How Telemachos Met His Father. By this time, day had dawned. Odysseus and the swineherd were in the hut, lighting the fire and getting ready their breakfast. The men had been sent out with the boars in droves, and there were the champion barkers, wagging their tails and jumping about Telemachos, not one bark out of the 4 of them. Odysseus heard them pattering about and fawning on him, and understood it at once, as he called out, "Eumaeus, here will be one of your mates, or someone you know, for the dogs are not barking but fawning upon him. I can hear the patter of their feet." Before he had finished, his own son stood in the porch. The swineherd jumped up in amazement, and the cups fell from his hands. He was just then mixing the wine. He ran to his young master, and kissed his head, and both his beautiful eyes, and both hands, and tears ran down his cheeks, as a father fondles the son whom he dearly loves, when he returns from a far country after 10 long years, his only son, well beloved, for whose sake he has suffered much. So the faithful swineherd threw his arms round the noble boy, and kissed him all over as one come back from the dead. Then, sobbing for joy, he spoke from the bottom of his heart. "Hast to come, Telemachos, blessed light of my eyes. I thought never to see thee again. Send thee to Pylos in yon ship. Come the reet, come on in, my son, that I may warm my heart with gazing at the traveler new come from foreign parts. That doesn't come often to the farms. That keeps close in the city. Well, every man to his taste, if that like looking at young murderous mob of merry come quicks." Telemachus answered, "That I will, daddy. Just to see you I came here, and to ask the news. Is my mother still in the house, or has somebody married her? Is my father's bed buried in cobwebs for lack of sleepers?" The swineherd answered, "Still in the house? I should think she is, patient as ever, but her nights and days are taken up with grievin' and greetin'." Then he took the spear from the hand of Telemachus, and the young man passed in over the threshold. As he entered, his father, Odysseus, rose from the seat to make room for him, but Telemachus checked him and said, "Stay where you are, stranger. We can find another seat in our hut. There's a man here to provide one." Odysseus sat down again, and the swineherd made a pile of green twigs for Telemachus, and spread a fleece on the top. There the son of Odysseus sat down. The swineherd set before them trenches of the roast meat, which remained over from yesterday, and heaps of bread in baskets, and filled the ivywood mug with delicious wine. Then he sat himself opposite to Odysseus. They helped themselves to the victuals, and when they had taken enough, Telemachus asked the swineherd, "Daddy, where does this stranger come from? How was it the sailors brought him to Ithaca, and who were they all? Who were they at all? I don't suppose he walked all the way here." Eumaeus answered, "I will tell thee the truth about it, lad. Crete is the home of his family, so he says. He has been knocking about all over the world, a wanderer. That was the destiny which God spun for him. Just now he has given the slip to a lot of the Thesprotians, and found his way to my hut. So I put him in thy hands. Do with him as thy will. He claims refuge with thee." Telemachus answered, Ah, Eumaeus, you cut me to the heart. Tell me how I can receive the stranger under my roof. I am young, and I cannot yet trust my hands, and stand up to a man if he wants to pick a quarrel. My mother is of two minds. She does not know whether to stay at home with me and look after the house, and respect her husband's bed and people's talk, or to give herself to the best man who woos her and offers the most. But now about the stranger, since he has taken refuge with you, I will give him a good coat and shirt to wear, and a sharp sword, and a pair of shoes for his feet, and to help him on his way wherever he has a mind to go. Or if you like, keep him here and look after him yourself. Then I'll send up the clothes and all the bread he wants, and he shall not be a burden on you and your men. But I would not have him come among the pretenders. They are really too violent and outrageous. I am afraid they will make game of him, and that will be a dreadful humiliation for me. One against many is done. Many's too many for one. Odysseus, ever patient, said to this, My friend, since I hope it may be allowed me to answer you myself, I declare it tears my heart to hear you say that about those marriage pretenders and their outrageous doings, flouting you in your own house, a gentleman like you. What is the reason? Are you a contender to their tyranny? Are you in bad favor with the people from some ugly rumor? Are your brothers to blame instead of defending you as a man might fairly expect, even in a dangerous quarrel? I only wish I were as young as you are, in my present temper, if I were a son of the admirable Odysseus, or even himself, for there is room for hope yet. Then let one of your foreigners cut off my head on the spot, if I wouldn't match into the hall of Odysseus' Laertides, and make them all rue the day. Even if they should be too many for me, and got the better of me by their numbers, I would choose to die in my own hall rather than to look on forever at such disgraceful doings. Strangers maltreated, maids pulled out all over the house, wine poured out in fountains, bread simply wasted and thrown away, interminable. No end to the business. Telemachos answered his questions. I will tell you the whole thing, stranger. I am not in bad favor with the people. No brothers are to blame or refuse to defend me as a man might fairly expect, even in a dangerous quarrel. The truth is, Cronion has made our family go by ones. Laertes was the only son of Arcesios. Odysseus was the only son of Laertes. I am the only son of Odysseus, and he went and left me behind and had no joy of me. That's why these thousands of enemies are in the house now, for all the best men in the island, the princes of Dulichian and Same, and woody Zakynthos, and all the powerful nobles of my own rocky Ithaca. Every one of them would marry my mother, and they are ruining the place. She does not refuse the hateful marriage, but she cannot make an end of it. Meanwhile, they are eating us out of house and home, and I dare say they will tear me to pieces myself. But of course, all that lies on the knees of the gods. Daddy, hurry up and go to your mistress, and tell her I am back from Pylos safe. I will stay here. You be sure to come straight back and see that she is alone when you tell her. Don't let another soul hear, for there are many plotting harm against me. The swineherd said. I see. I understand. I have some sense in my head. But looky now. Just answer me this. Shall I go the same way to tell Laertes? Poor old man. He was always grieving for Odysseus. Still, he used to look after his farm, and eat and drink in the house with his servants when he felt like it. But since they gaed away to Pylos, They say he will not eat and drink any more, or look after the farm, but there sits mournin' and lamentin', till the flesh is wastin' off his bones. Telemachus answered, That's a pity, but still we'll leave him alone, although we are sorry for him. If wishings were gettings, the first thing we would choose is my father's return. You just give your message and come back, and don't go traipsing over the fields to find him. You can tell mother to send the housewife at once, and secretly. She can tell the old man. So he packed off the swineherd, who put on his boots and set out for town. Athena did not fail to see him go. At once she approached in the form of a woman, a fine, tall woman, one quick and handy, and well up to her work. She showed herself just outside of the enclosure. She stood right opposite the door, but Telemachus did not see her, for gods do not show themselves manifestly to everyone. Odysseus saw her, and so did the dogs, but they did not bark. They only whimpered and slunk back to the other side of the barton. She signed to him with her brows. He took note of it and stepped out of the room, along the enclosing wall, and stood before her. Athena said to him, Prince Laertides, you are a man ever ready. Now is the time to speak to your son. Hide nothing from him. Contrive with him death and destruction for the pretenders, and then return to the town. I will not be far from you and your son in the thick of the fight. Then Athena stroked him with her golden rod. She clothed him in spotless raiment, and made him the picture of youth and strength. Once more he was dark and tanned, his cheeks filled out, a dark beard covered his chin. When her work was done, she departed. Odysseus went into the hut, and his son was filled with amazement. He was afraid, and turned his eyes aside, uncertain whether it might be some god. Then he spoke, plainly and to the point. You look different now, stranger, from what you were before. Your clothes are changed. Your color is not the same. Surely you are one of the gods who rule the broad heavens. Be gracious, that you may do sacrifice to thee, and make offerings of wrought gold. Spare us, good Lord. Odysseus answered out of his patient heart, I tell you, I am no god. Why do you rank me with the immortals? No, I am your father, for whom you have mourned so long and put up with the wrongs and violence of men. Saying this, he kissed his son and let the tears run freely down his cheeks. Until that hour, he had always held them back. But Telemachus could not yet believe it. It was his father. And he said once again, Oh no, you are not Odysseus my father, but some being more than man come to bewitch me and to make my grief greater than it was. It is impossible that a mortal man could have contrived all this by his own power. No one but very God could make one young or old at will, but it is easy for him. Why, a moment ago you were old and dressed in rags. Now you are like one of the gods who rule the broad heavens. Odysseus answered, My son, it is your own father at home once more, and that is nothing to astound you or make you wonder overmuch. I tell you truly that no other Odysseus will ever come here, but only I, as you see me, after many sufferings and many wanderings, returned after 20 long years to my native land. This indeed is the doing of Athena, the queen of victory. She has made me such as I am, for it is her will, and she has the power. Now a beggar, now a young man in handsome dress, it is easy for the gods who rule the broad heavens both to exalt a mortal man and to bring him low. He sat down, and Telemachus threw his arms round his noble father and burst into tears. They sat throbbing and shaking in the relief from that long strain, like a pair of sea-eagles robbed of their young before they are feathered, who quiver and shake as they utter their shrill cries. So they would have remained until the sun went down, but Telemachus suddenly said to his father, "What ship brought you to Ithaca, my dear father? Who were the crew? I don't suppose you walked all the way." Then Odysseus answered, "Well, my boy, I will tell you the whole story. Those famous seamen, the Phaeacians, brought me here. You know they are always ready to help a traveler on his way. I slept all through the voyage, and I was asleep when they put me ashore in Ithaca. They gave me splendid treasures, bronze and gold, and plenty of woven stuffs. All these lie in a cave by the grace of God, and now I have come to this place at the bidding of Athena, that we may make our plans for the death of our enemies. Now then, count over the men for me, and tell me how many they are, and who they are. Then I will consider carefully whether we too can face them alone, or if we should look for helpers." Telemachus answered, "My father, I have always heard great things of you, both your strength in fight and your wisdom, but this is something too big. I am astounded at the thought. It is utterly impossible that 2 men could fight such a host, and all strong men. They are not just 10 or 20, but many more. Listen now, and you can count them up. From Dulichian, 52 lads, picked men with 6 servants. From Same, 4, and 20 young fellows. 20 lads from Zakynthos, and 12 from Ithaca itself, and the best in the island, and they have with them Medon, the marshal, and a fine singing man, and a couple of good carvers. If we attack them all together in hall, I am afraid you might bitterly rue your day of vengeance. If you can think of someone to help us too, do think who would be a faithful and willing ally." Odysseus answered, "Very well. See what you say to this. Do you think Athena will be enough for us with Father Zeus, or must I think of someone else to help us?" Telemachus answered, "That's 2 more, certainly, and good ones. Although they do live high up in the clouds, they do rule over all men, and the gods too." Odysseus answered, "Those 2 more certainly will not be long absent from the fierce battle, when we and my supplanters meet and fight it out between us. But now you must go home at dawn and mix with them all as usual. I will come later. The swineherd shall bring me like some wretched old beggar. If they insult me when I get there, you must harden your heart to see it. Even if they drag me out by the legs or throw things at me, just look on and control yourself. But you may ask them not to be fools if you can speak politely. They will not listen to you, I am sure of that, for the day of their fate is at hand. Another thing I want you to remember carefully. When Athena in her wisdom shall reveal to me that the time has come, I will give you a nod, so be on the lookout. Then take away all the weapons and shields which hang about in the hall, and pack them into the corner of one of the rooms upstairs. Every one. Don't leave one behind. If any of them ask what has become of the stuff, speak politely and say, 'I have put them away out of the smoke. Even now they are by no means the same as when my father left them. All the smoke from the fire has quite spoiled them. And there is something else you mustn't forget. I have just thought of it. You may take a drop too much and quarrel. You may make a mess of your supper. and your wedding together. You know the saying, bare steel in sight draws men to fight. But you may leave enough for us two alone, 2 swords and 2 spears, and a couple of leather shields, handy if we want them. As for the others, Pallas Athenia and Zeus Allwise will keep their minds at rest. Another thing you must be careful to remember. As you are my true son and my own flesh and blood, let not one single soul know that Odysseus has come home, not even Laertes, not the swineherd, none of the servants, not your mother herself, only you and me, and we will find out the temper of the women, and try some of the farm hands. We'll see if someone somewhere fears and respects us. We'll see who cares nothing and only despises you for a boy. His son answered, My father, time will show what my spirit is. Indeed, there is no slackness in me, but I must say, I don't think that will be of much use to either of us. You must judge, of course. You will waste a great deal of time in going round the farms and having a try at each man, and all the while those others are in the house, battening on our goods like brigands and sparing nothing. I should recommend you to find out which of the women disgrace you and which are innocent. But I don't think I would go round to all the crofts and shanties and explore. Leave that for afterwards, if in sober truth you have a sign from Zeus Almighty. While these two were talking, the ship which had brought Telemachos from Pylos arrived at the town of Ithaca. When they were safe inside the harbor, they beached the ship. The servants carried out all the gear and took the king's gifts to the house of Cleidios. A message was sent to Odysseus's house to inform Penelope that Telemachos was in the country, but that he had sent on the ship to town to save his mother any alarm. This messenger met the swineherd bound on the same errand to Penelope. When they reached the master's house, the crier spoke out before all the household. My lady, your son has just arrived. But the swineherd took her apart, and took her everything her son had bidden him tell. As soon as his errand was done, he left the mansion and returned to his swine. But the pretenders were utterly cast down by this blow. They left the hall and passed along the courtyard wall to the gateway, where they held a sitting. Eurymachus spoke first and said, My friends, Telemachos has succeeded in his great deed of defiance, this journey of his, which we thought would never come off. Let us launch the best ship we can find and collect a crew and send them off at full speed to tell those fellows to come home quickly. Before he had quite finished, Amphinomus turned on his seat and spied a ship already within the harbor, men furling sails and men still holding the oars. He laughed merrily and called out, There's no need to send a messenger now. Here they are. Some god told them, or they saw the ship sailing past and could not catch her. They all got up and went down to the shore. They helped to beach the ship, and the serving men carried out the gear. Then they all went to the marketplace, where they kept together and let no one else join them, young or old. Antinous now addressed them. Damn it all, he said. See how the gods have saved this man from destruction. All day long we had spies posted on the windy heights, relieving each other when the sun set. We never passed a night on land, but kept our ship afloat and cruised about all night, watching for Telemachos, to catch him before he could come in. Well, this time a special providence has brought him home, but don't let him escape. We must find some way to kill him here, for I don't think we shall do our business while he is alive. He certainly has brains and intelligence, and the people are not at all in our favor now. Look alive before he summons the country to a meeting. I am sure nothing will stop him. He will get on his feet and proclaim to the whole nation that we plotted his murder and couldn't catch him. They won't like the hear of violence. I am afraid they will be violent themselves and kick us out of the country, and then it's off we go to banishment. Let's be ready then, and catch him in the country on his way to town. We can keep his goods and chattels, and divide them fairly amongst ourselves, but let his mother and her husband have the house. Well, if you don't like that plan, if you prefer to let him live and enjoy his father's wealth, suppose we give up living here on that fat of the land altogether, and let each man do his wooing from his own house with gifts and pleadings. Let her marry the man that offers the most and has the luck. A dead silence followed the speech. At last, Amphinomus spoke. This was a notable man. His father was Prince Nissos Aretides, and he was the chief of the pretenders from the meadows and wheatlands of Dulichian. His manners pleased Penelope more than any of the others did, for he was a good-hearted fellow. This man then rose and said, "My friends, I should not be willing to kill Telemachos. It is a dangerous thing to kill one of a princely race. But first, let us inquire the will of God. If the oracles of Zeus Most High consent, I will kill him myself, and bid the others join. But if the gods forbid, I bid you have done." They all agreed to what Amphinomus proposed. Then they broke up and returned to the house of Odysseus, and dispersed to their usual seats. But Penelope had her own thoughts on these matters, and she was a wise woman. She resolved to appear before these wild and violent men, for she had learnt in the house about the plot against her son's life. You remember that Medon overheard the plot and told her. So she came down to hall with her women, a lovely creature, and stood beside the doorpost of the great chamber, holding her shimmering veil before her cheeks. Then she reproached Antinous, whom she called by name. "Antinous, man of violence, conspirator! And yet they say that of all the men of your age in this country, you have the ripest wisdom and the most eloquent speech. You have proved to be not at all like that. Madman, how dare you scheme to murder Telemachos? Do you not respect those who appeal to the protection of Zeus? Indeed, it is not decent for men to be treacherous to one another. Do you not know how your own father once came here for refuge and fear of his people? Yes, they were terribly enraged against him because he had joined the Taphian pirates to harry the Thesprotians, and they are allies of ours. So the people were ready to destroy him and tear out his heart, and to swallow up all his rich possessions. But Odysseus held them back. Odysseus checked them when they were all eagerness. And now you are swallowing up the house of Odysseus, and pay no price. You propose to marry the wife of Odysseus. You murder the son of Odysseus, and plunge me into the depths of sorrow. I charge you to cease, and tell your friends to do the same." Antinous said nothing, but Eurymachus had the face to answer. "That is wisely said, Penelope, and we do not forget whose daughter you are, but take courage. Let no such thoughts disturb your mind. That man lives not, and never shall be bred or born. Who shall lay hand on your son Telemachos? While I live and see the light upon this earth, I declare solemnly and I am a man of my word. The spear shall suddenly drink that man's blood, our spear, I should say, for I too was dandled many a time on your husband's knees. And the hero who sacked Ilion would pop a bit of meat into my fingers and a drop of wine into my mouth. Therefore, I love Telemachus more than any man living, and I tell you there is no need to fear death for him, at our hands at least. What comes from God none can avoid. He said this to quiet her, but all the while he was himself plotting the murder of that very son. So she retired to her chamber and mourned for the husband whom she loved, until Athena shed sweet sleep on her eyelids. In the evening the swineherd returned to Odysseus and his son. They had killed a yearling hog for supper, and they were busy about that. Athena came near, and with a tap of her staff made Odysseus an old man again, clad in mucky rags, for she did not wish the swineherd to know him. The man would never keep the secret. Off he would go and blurt it out to Penelope. As he came up, Telemachus hailed him. "So, you are back, Eumenos. What is the talk about town? Have the heroes come home already from their lurking hole, or are they still on the watch for me on the way home?" Eumenos answered, "Nay, I took no trouble to ask about them in town. I meant to give my message and come back here as quick as I could, but a runner caught me up, coming from his friends, and he gave the first news to thy mother. Aye, I know somewhat else, too, which I saw with my own eyes. On my way, just as I was over the city, by Hermes Hill, I saw a ship come into the harbor. It was full of men, a regular cargo of shields and sharp spears. I thought it was be those men, but I don't know." Telemachus glanced at his father with a smile, but he did not let the man see. When they had finished their preparations, they had supper, and there was plenty for all. They ate and they drank, and when they had taken enough, they went to bed, and thankful they were for the gift of sleep. That's it for this week. We will see you guys next week with Book 17.